All right. So, before we begin, can anyone tell me what the numerator of a fraction is?
It's on top.
It's on top, but what else about the numerator? What does it represent?
The shaded.
The shaded. So it represents how many parts we have out of a whole, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the denominator?
How many equal parts you have?
Okay, but is it on the top or the bottom of a fraction?
The bottom.
The bottom, right. So I want you to think about this. What do you think the importance of learning about fractions is? Why do we think it's important to learn about fractions?
So we can split things.
So we can split things equally? What else? You kind of have to think about it for a second. Why is it important that we learn about it?
So if you like trying to find something, like you could have your house, like so you could have if you had a house with 4 rooms, that's 4 of the room, and that would tell you how many rooms there are.
Right, so it's important because we can apply it to everyday life, right? Like think about if you're trying to make a cake.
Yeah.
You've got to know how much of each ingredient you need, right?
And how equally.
Yeah, and kind of like how you said when you're building a house, like if you're cutting wood for a house, you've got to know how much wood you need and you have to cut them equally. That way you can build the house. But, okay, remember we talked about the word decompose? What, I want y'all to kind of talk together and talk about the meaning of the word decompose. What does the word decompose mean?
To break apart. Right, break apart.
Break apart.
You have one number, take it apart.
So you remember how we were doing area, and sometimes we would have those funny shapes like an L shape, and we had to decompose that into 2 rectangles? That's kind of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be decomposing a whole number into fractions. But before we begin, I want you to not use your scratch paper for this problem. I just want you to watch me do it, okay? But we are going to be using a number bond.
I know what a number.
You know what a number bond is? It kind of looks like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we know what those are.
And it kind of looks,
Those are in first grade.
like a spider.
Yeah.
Or like an octopus. You know,
Octopi.
has anybody ever seen like a family tree?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Let me get a Okay, so before we get into fractions, I'm going to show you how we can decompose a larger whole number into a smaller whole number. So we're going to use 4. So 4 is going to go at the top of our number bond. So what's the smallest whole number that we can have?
2 and 2.
Not 2, 1. 1's the smallest whole number. So how can we decompose 4 into 1s?
Alright, I know.
Not 1/4. We're trying to make this whole number 4 into 1s, into whole numbers.
I think you can like split it apart.
You can think about it like addition. So how many 1s would we need to make a 4? 4.
It would be 4 plus 4.
So not 4 plus 4 plus
1
4.
plus 1 plus 1 plus 1.
So what is 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
4.
4.
4 ones equal 4.
So we can draw our 4 1s in our number bond. Like that. But there's also a different way we can do this.
I know. We can split it apart into 2
We can
and
split it
2.
apart. But I want to show you the 2 different ways you can do this, and you don't have to do both ways. I just want you to choose a way that's going to be easiest for you to remember. So we're still doing our 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. So we're going to put our 4 up here. And we can actually combine 3 of these ones. So what's 1 plus 1 plus 1?
3.
That's going to be
So
3.
3 and 2.
Not 3 and 2 because we still have a 1 over here.
3 and 1.
So when you look at this number bond, kind of think of it like an addition problem. So 3 plus 1 is going to be 4. Okay? So now
You could also do 2 plus 2.
you could.
Okay.
You could.
Oh, if you want to draw the number bond a different way, you could draw it upside down.
Okay, so now we're going to get into fractions. And I want you to work this problem with me. So I want you to use your scratch paper and do this one with me. So we are going to decompose 1 into fourths. So what does a fourth look like?
I know.
What does it look like?
I know.
Okay.
4 equal parts.
4 equal parts, but what does it look like in fraction form?
Like 1/4.
1/4. It's going to be 1
4.
over 4, right? So how can we turn 1 into fourths?
1 into.
How can we do that?
We can add 3 more ones.
3 more fourths.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to put our 1 up here. So draw your 1 up here in the big circle because that's the number we're decomposing. So how many fourths, again, will we need to make
3 more.
this one? So if we add them together, the denominator is going to stay the same. And what's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
4. So
4.
4.
So when we have a fraction that has the same number, the numerator, as the denominator, what's that going to make this fraction turn into?
It's kind of like this. And then you just like 1/4, 2/4, 3/4.
But if you see in this fraction how the numerator and the denominator are the same,
Yeah.
what's that going to turn this into? If it's the same in the numerator as it is the denominator.
A whole.
A whole.
Yeah.
So when we draw our number bond, we're going to have our 4 fourths kind of branching off. So this is what our number bond is going to look like. And so when you think of it as addition, 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 is going to equal 4 fourths. And that's going to turn into a whole. Does everybody have their number bond? All you got to do is just branch your 1/4 off, kind of like I have them on here.
Yeah.
And we'll give y'all a minute to draw your number bond. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Everybody done? Thumbs up. So if we have 4 fourths right here, we can think about it as a fraction. So we have 4 equal parts in this circle, right? So if all 4 of those parts are shaded,
It's 4 fourths.
it would equal the whole circle, right? So that would make it one whole. Okay. Now I want y'all to do this next problem by yourselves. You don't have any more room? can just flip it over and just use another blank page. I want to see if y'all can do it by yourselves. So, we're still breaking down a whole number into fractions, but I want you to draw your number bond by yourselves without my help. So I want you to decompose 1 into fifths. It's easy?
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Fifths?
Fifths are kind of hard.
I know.
It's the same thing we did with fourths. Just add. You just copy it from the other.
But remember, there's 2 techniques that y'all can follow. I forgot to show y'all the one for the
And the one that
fourth.
fits you best is the right.
So remember, we were writing 1/4 over and over and over.
Mine.
So if y'all wanted to, we can combine 3 of those fourths to make 3/4 and a 1/4. Because those added together is going to make 4/4, and that would make a whole. It is. So there's 2 ways y'all can do it, and y'all don't have to use both ways. Just use the one that's easiest for you. If you don't want to write the same fraction over and over and over, because that can make your hands hurt, writing it over and over.
Especially like 20.
I
You have to write it
know.
20 times.
I know.
I don't like writing stuff 20 times. I don't like
Especially 20 circles.
I like
15 with the square.
I draw 1,000 circles and my hands get tired.
Your hands get tired.
How can you draw 1,000 circles?
I do too.
Now remember, we're decomposing 1 into fifths.
And then I'm going
So I'm going to give y'all a second to draw your number bond.
I get to use it.
And
Okay, is everyone done with their number bond? Or are you still working on it?
Yeah, you got me.
You still have fourths. We're doing fifths. Or is that a fourth? And you can keep that on there because that's the other way we can use it with the fourths. We're doing fifths now.
And then just hit this. All you gotta do.
No, you can just do a new number bond with your fifths. You don't have to erase.
I don't know if I did good.
We'll see. I'm gonna check y'all's work and then I'm gonna show you how to do it on the board.
I'm gonna copy from here.
Why are you copying somebody?
Now don't just copy off of there,
Yes.
because if you copy it, you're not learning anything.
Yeah.
I'm not taking copying it because it ain't the right thing.
It's not the right one. Okay.
See, I'm gonna do it. I hate it.
What you did the other technique, right? I want to see you draw it with the fifths.
I did the first one.
You did both ways.
I didn't even know this was the second way.
Now you did the first technique. Okay.
Sounds easy.
So that's easier for you to remember. Now, is this one for the fifths? You've got ones. Remember, we're breaking down 1 into fractions. We're not breaking down 1 into more whole numbers.
I did both of you.
I know, but you don't have your fifths down here. You just have ones. Remember, we're breaking it down into a fraction. You're on the right track.
I got an owl at home.
Ow.
A little owl. Even wiper.
There you go. Because before you were breaking down 1 into ones, and we're doing it in fifths. You got yours?
Yeah.
Is everybody done? If you're done, do a thumbs up. Okay. So, we're breaking down 1 into fifths, right? So 1 is going to be at the top of our number line.
Nope.
So, how many fifths would we need to make a whole?
4.
4? 5?
Because we're doing
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
and then we got it equal 5.
So the denominator is going to stay the same, and when we add them together, what's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
5.
5. So when the numerator is the same as the denominator, what does that mean?
That it's a whole.
It's a whole.
It's a whole.
So we would draw.
I get it now.
You get it now? We would draw our 5 1/5 branching off, right? All right, raise your hand if you use this technique.
I killed my.
Okay. I'm going to show y'all the other technique that we can use.
Better what's next time?
It's kind of hard for me to write sideways. So I'm going to put our 1/5 back up here that we were adding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You always stop at 5 and then count.
Okay. So we could combine some of these fifths, right?
Like for me.
So we can combine 4 of these fifths and add them together, right? So what would be 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1? 4. 4. So that would give us 4 fifths. But we still have this 1/5 over here.
Yeah.
So we would have to add it. So it would still equal to 5 over 5.
Yeah, but it's like different from the other.
But it's different from the other one. And so you can use this if you didn't want to write 1/5 over and over and over.
What if you want to do 2 and 3? Yeah,
You could.
I did that. The 1/5 and I did.
You could.
I'm gonna do that one next.
You could combine 2 of these fifths and then combine the other 3. So there's different ways you can do it. All right. So, does anyone remember what the word decompose means?
To break apart.
So today we were able to, what were we able to decompose?
Fractions.
Fractions. So we were
The 5 and 4.
So we were able to decompose a whole number into smaller parts, like fractions, right?
We're doing that room right across because like here we have like 14 times 7. We break it into 10 and 4.
So this activity was kind of the same when we were doing our floor plan, remember? We decomposed that into smaller parts so we can have our rooms, right? So who remembers what's the important, why should we learn about fractions?
Like if you're building a house.
Building a house?
Yeah, like building a house.
And like with baking or cooking, we can use that. So we can use it in everyday life, right? So can someone give me an example of how we can break down a whole number into fractions? Don't use the ones that we worked.
10.
Because there's a million ways we could break down.
10.
Sixth. So how many sixths would we need?
I gotta say 6 ones.
Okay.
Or you
We
could
would.
do a million. You could just do 500,000 and 500,000.
Well, now you're thinking too big. Remember, we're thinking
We could
fractions.
do 10, 5, and 5, or
So think if we're
we could get 6 and 4 and 4 and 6 and 5 and 5 and 1 and 9.
so if we were breaking down, say 1/4. So if we were breaking down 1 into fourths, how many fourths would we need? 4. Because think of it as addition. So if we had fourths, we would add these together. The denominator would stay the same. So what's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
4 over 4.
4 over 4. So if the numerator is the same as the denominator, it's 1 whole. Because if you took a circle and it's got 4 equal parts, but if all the parts were shaded,
So if one
It would-
shaded is 1 and 2 shaded is 2.
so if only 1 was shaded,
Copy of it.
Yeah.
so if only 1 was shaded, it would be 1/4. But all of these are shaded.
So it's 4
So it's 4/4, and it would make 1 whole because it's all the shaded parts. It's the entire circle, right? Good job. All right. I'm just gonna ask y'all something else.
And after this, we're gonna do all.
So learning about fractions, y'all realize the importance, right? It's really important because we can apply it to everyday life, right? All right, I think that's all I have for y'all. So thank y'all for being such good learners today. And tomorrow's lesson, y'all are gonna build larger fractions by using smaller fractions. So y'all are gonna have, remember how we had like the whole number at the top of our number bond? Y'all are gonna have a larger fraction at the top of that number bond, and you'll have to break it down into smaller fractions.
So you
I definitely know mine
do
too.
it personal one, and then we write, and then we solve it on the